None of them stop with accent. They're learning quite different things on YouTube. So everything that's happening is communicating to that. Communication is not happening in our home front. We are not in joint families now. How many of us have come up in joint families? I came up in a joint family. Yeah? What about our children? How many of them in joint families? See, I just have one or two hands. This is the trend that is happening. We don't have joint families. We don't have chachas. I don't have, chachi, or then your chachi's oldest brother in the house who's telling me stories, who's taking me around every day. Learning happens that way. Foreign countries are now implementing that. It is called a mixed age grouping, where you have an older child in class and there are younger children. This is how you learn. This is how we learn in our home environments, which is not happening now. So even more the need that we as teachers communicate with the children. And there are different forms of communication. For a preschooler, language might be a barrier. The child might not understand English very well, right? The child is accustomed to the local language. It may be a regional language, it may be a mother tongue, what the child is accustomed to. But what first thing the child understands is your body language. How you approach the child. When I'm with children, around children, in my preschool, or we go around work with Islam children also, I go down to their level, I sit down with them, I run with them, I play with them, we just become crazy with them. This is how you communicate with your children of preschoolers. Maybe later on, when they're a little older, we can be like children, communicate with them with their language. But as preschoolers, you have to be like a child. That is the language you understand. And storytelling is the best form of communication.
Yes,
Then in today's world, now the children, where we are focusing on the EQ and AQ quotient. IQ is very minuscule now. A press of a button, you have all the information on your phone, on your tabs, on your laptops. Name what country, how many people are there, what's the population, what's the color of the flag, what do they eat, what is the area, who are the leaders since times immemorial, who are the presidents, everything is on the click of a button. So these children who are there with us are going to be faced with artificial intelligence all around them. You might have robots around them, handling everything. Navigation now is on your fingertip. Now we don't even remember, do I need to take a right or left hand to my mobile? Where does Google take you? Your dependency is growing a lot on artificial intelligence. So there are the 3 C's which you need to develop with your children. Is the creativity, communication, curiosity. Curiosity is something an AI will not do. What is a robot? A robot feeds on the information that you as an individual has fed it. There is no creativity in a robot. Creativity is us humans. Our human brains are meant to be creative. Our dependency on artificial intelligence is growing more and more, and when our children are going to be faced with all kinds of robots and all kinds of technology around them, the one thing which will set them apart is a high EQ, the emotional quotient, and the adversity quotient. How many of you all know what's an adversity quotient? The AQ quotient. Yes? We see a lot of children, not able to face failures. Why are young children going for suicide? Have we heard? I come from the 70s generation, 70s and 80s. We never heard of this. It was very easy for us to deal with rejection. Okay, टीचर ने माइनस भी मार्क दे दिया, ठीक है, बस हंस के घर जाते थे वापस. हाँ कि नहीं? अभी बच्चों को एक माइनस मार्क दे दिया या रेड मार्क आ गया, रिपोर्ट कार्ड में माँ आ गया वहाँ पे. क्यों दिया फिर? Why this? Because your child is not able to face it only. हम तो 10th तक में फेल हुए. 10th standard, I failed in Marathi. No, though I didn't have to repeat, but the prelims I failed in Marathi language. But one thing, it didn't make a difference. When our children are not able to face rejection, we have to develop their AQ quotient. Because these children are the ones who are going to come and run the world. Our world is getting interconnected. There are going to be no language barriers because everything is on your phone tip. If you want to translate English to Japanese, English to anything else, or Hindi to any other language, also is available on your phone tip. So all the world is getting closer. So what is that skill which you need to make your child good at is the AQ and the EQ. Interpersonal skills, communication skills, is what sets you apart. What are the best of businessmen, the best of businessmen today? Or the best of the big companies, the people who are running the big of companies, Amazon, Tata's, why are they the best? because they know how to communicate with their employees. They know how to get people all together and come up. Their IQ is not high. They might not know what is engineering. They might not know what is management. But they know interpersonal skills. They know how to get people together and rise together. This is what we need to develop in our children. So how do you develop? Storytelling. We all love to gossip, right? All of us love to gossip. It's okay. It's okay to gossip. पता है क्या हुआ? वो बंधुवाली के घर में ना कल रात को बहुत आवाज आई। Definitely उसके पति और उसके बीच ना झगड़ा हो रहा था। बाकी all these things. So when we come up with that tone, you know what happened? पता है क्या हुआ? So the moment that dialogue, that tone comes in your voice, curiosity develops. Same thing with children. Once upon a time, in a deep jungle, there lived a ferocious lion. So you can see the gleam in the child's eye. So this your tone, your voice modulation should all come in your storytelling. So let's go ahead. So how does storytelling in early childhood education help in a child's development? So the first one is it improves the language skills. So when we insist on reading karo, but only reading helps you in communication? No, it has to be a two-way thing. So it improves language skills. Reading is not the only way you develop a child's skills. Storytelling is a fun way for your child to get accustomed to hearing different words, syllables, sounds, which they might have normally not heard in their regular conversations. Because we are in households now where the mom early in the morning gets up, goes to work, father also goes to work, either the child is left in the responsibility of a maid in the house, or then the child goes to a daycare center. So when we as teachers, preschool teachers, or if we're running a daycare center, we need to inculcate storytelling as a part of a daily ritual. It's a ritual you need to follow daily. And it boosts memory also. See, when there's verbal communication happening and a story format, you would know what is what comes first, what comes next, what is the main, the main gist of the story, what comes conclusion, what is the moral of the story. So this thought process starts in a child's mind. So it boosts memory. Like in ancient Gurukul systems, when the children used to say Sanskrit verses daily, there used to be no written format. They don't write you and write and give you that you have to learn this one type. So daily verbal communication is happening. Verbally they used to learn. Yeah, rote learning is, I'm not promoting rote learning over here, but the rote learning in Sanskrit would increase the brain capacity to understand, to comprehend things. Your soft skill increase because Sanskrit is such a language which makes you very, they say it makes you very gentle. Sanskrit is a language that makes you gentle. So if you're telling a child daily stories, like how we used to do it in ancient times, so maybe language Sanskrit is there, Pali is there. So the child's memory is boosted because the child knows, you're vocally telling him. If you're telling one story today, or if you say at the start of the story and say, okay, let's catch up with it tomorrow, like man was killing, Nandi ma'am said, she used to tell the story of Harry Potter, but Harry Potter is too high for his preschool children. You can tell small, stories of animals and all. And then next day the child will again complete, okay, what happened next? So this is going on in the child's mind. What happens next? And what happens after that? And what do I learn out of this? This is how we tell in a class. So next, boost memory. Storytelling fosters the imagination and creative and cognitive skills of children. So what does this is very important for children's creative and imaginative thinking. Instead of a video or an image doing that work for them, the children are forced to think for themselves. When you're telling a story, and then you stop in between and you pause and ask them, what do you think happens next? Isn't that, honing on the child's imaginative skills? The child starts thinking, okay, and every child will think in a very different way. So maybe in a classroom setup, when you're starting the story, you can just invite some child and say, okay, come, you tell me what would happen next. So you don't need to follow the storyline. The children can come up with a lot of creative things. Your creativity is maximum at that age. Because apparently what I think is, after a particular age, We are putting them in a box. Their creativity, we are curbing the creativity. We are just, I don't know what we are doing. You know, when I give a free hand to draw to children, there are children who come up with black clouds, then they'll come up with red clouds. I never tell them no. I've encouraged my teachers, don't tell them no. Don't give them a color. Let them think. Let them explain why have you put that color. I know it's very difficult in a big class, but maybe you can pick up on children who are very reserved, who are very, introverts. Ask them, why did you use this color? You'll come up with so many different answers. And for all you will know what's happening in the child's house and help the child out. Or maybe at a PTM meeting, you can talk to the parents about what's happening with the child. Yeah? So never say no to a child. So it encourages the enthusiasm for learning, writing and reading. Storytelling, regardless of what medium, you have to make it fun and interactive activity with the children. So through storytelling, the children begin to learn the love for learning and associate with the fun activity. So what we in our school do, we have different themes for every month. So if it is a theme of all about me, so I encourage the teachers to tell it in a story format how important it is to brush your teeth. So maybe your every tooth over here is an individual tooth. So one tooth is telling the other tooth, see you're so dirty over here. And the other tooth is saying, oh, you look nice over here. So this is how you encourage, make it one story and encourage them to brush their teeth every day, morning or after bath. So all different themes. I'll share in the last slide. You all can take down the 10 different themes we have for every month. And you all can have an activity or a story based on those themes. Storytelling. So you have your nursery rhymes, you have songs, picture books, you have cultural stories, you have your fables, then you have storytelling with finger puppets. Like you have, I'm sure many of you all have these finger puppets at your schools, yeah. This is a very beautiful form of storytelling, children can relate. So you can have 5 fingers, put all the 5 fingers, your puppets into these 5 fingers and show them. And personal or child's experiences. In a week, maybe you can assign some children. You can assign some children some themes for that week. And you can tell the children, come up. It may be not preschooler of 2 to 3 years of age, it's very difficult for them to say stories at this early age. A child who is 6 to 7 years of age, first grade or a second grader, you can encourage them to tell their own experiences, stories in their own experience. And you will be amazed at what all they come up with. We have this activity, I used to take when there was online, 2 years ago when we had online classes, I used to take the class for the first graders. And every time when we used to finish that class, I used to tell them, you come up with any story what you want. Anything. They used to come up with just any random story. And then we realized they were real good storytellers. I called up their parents and told them, document these stories. Document them because it's creative. They are not, not copying any story because we have a lot of stories. The cow, the crow and the picture. Then you have the lion and the mouse. These are all copied stories which have been handed down to us from generation and generations. But when you're talking to your children, they come up with their own stories. We can do this activity in your classroom. If you are handling first graders and second graders, just tell them come up with their own story in the process of the class. Especially post lunch, we should do it. See, when the maximum capacity of the brain is used up till lunch, post lunch, most of these children, they are very lethargic. They don't want to participate in anything. Some of them may be sleeping in some corner. Some of them may be sitting, they just doze off like that. Storytelling is the best way to keep them occupied. Post lunch is the best time I've seen. Because then they are like, they need to know the story. But then a story should not be like a lullaby where the child just sleeps off over there. Yeah? You should engage them in the story. And role play. When you come up with a story, you can have role play with it. You know the picture of gold, the story of the picture of gold. So there are different characters over there. Pull up some children, give them one character. In English is difficult. English is very difficult, right? In many of the schools which are all around, if English is difficult, write them 2 lines. Or memorize, tell them to memorize these 2 lines. And decide on a day where you can come up with this act of drama, role play. So one child is a king, one child is that like a Subedar is there, one child is a farmer who is digging and who gets a pot. So everybody has 2 lines. This way they can learn English also. I know English is a very difficult language, because I feel our vernacular languages as well as Sanskrit is much more easier than English. If you have an A written, what is the phonics for A? Is A. It's so different, right? यहाँ हमने क लिखा, क का तो क ही है ना, हाँ कि नहीं? Isn't it a very easy language? So if you are promoting English with our children, promote it to this way, role play. Give them 2 lines dialogue. Simple dialogue. I am the king, what are you doing? Something like that. Simple dialogues, tell them, narrate it to them, let them memorize it, and on one day have the role play. Children will learn this way. Next time when you are having a role play, take a different set of children. So you see, every child, you're encouraging the child to come up. And don't let any child be quiet in one corner. Encourage that child also to come up. Online we had this child, who was a complete introvert. When he was in an offline school, he couldn't talk to anybody. I thought, was he a child with differently able child? But what I realized that the child was an introvert. And in an online platform, I kept on pressurizing the child. Okay, you come up now. You take the class today. Now we've learned about nouns. You tell me what is nouns now. Teach it to the class. Now the child goes to a school and he's a leader there. He's a monitor in the class there. In a different school, because we don't cater above the first and second standard. So that child is monitored in that class. This is the difference what we as teachers have to bring up to the children. Because this year's, the ages of 2 to 8 is very crucial for children. Very crucial. Memories are formed, language is learned. Abusive children also at this age, if there's abuse happening in the home, they turn out to be very, individuals who want to met that kind of abuse out to the public, out to everybody else. So we need to be as teachers, we are grooming children this way. So storytelling is one form, communication is one form. So now we'll see what are the components of storytelling. Your spoken words, the words that you speak to your children is one component. So when you're speaking to the child, clearly pronounce the words. Because your child is continuously listening to you. I hope you all know that children at any given point of time are in a meditative state. What is the meditative state? They are in the moment. We are the ones who have to meditate and bring our mind to the null and void state. But children at any given point of time are in a meditative state. Because in any moment, they are not thinking about the future or they are not worried what has happened and who has told me and what that person has told me. So when the child is in the moment, he is listening to everything what you are saying. He or she is listening to everything what you say. So when you are talking or when you are telling a story, you have to be very clear and pronounce the words and go slow. Go slow with your words because the child is trying to understand. Like Nati ma'am was saying, we have children who learn in a very different way. It's not that one glove fits all. We have different children over here. So we need to address to everyone. So you don't need to be fast in your storytelling. Go a little slow. Pronounce your words clearly. And when you're repeating your words, you create the element of suspense also. That keeps the person glued to it. Like I started with the gossip. So this is the tone you use, So that creates an interest in the audience, in your children. And voice. Use your voice to support children to make a meaning. If a child is coming up with something, use the words the child is also giving you. Use those words in your story. Be creative. Then and there you can be creative. Gestures, body language, facial expressions. Now when I talked about the lion can go, lion. So you go, your voice goes gruff, and your eyes goes big, and you say the lion. And then you say the gentle elephant, the gentle elephant. So then your voice goes a little gentler. But if you're talking about a sly fox, there was a sly fox hiding in the bushes. So your tone of word also should show that you're meaning to say a sly fox, a gigantic elephant, and a ferocious lion or tiger. Characterization of different sounding voices, body language, gestures, and different characters can be used for storytelling. So here at this point, would you like to listen to a very short story read from a book? Yeah?
Yeah.
Book, our teacher, she's a class teacher who takes it with the children of our childcare center as well as our preschoolers. So this book is called Hathi Bhai.
Who's coughing? Who's coughing?
Hathi Bhai is nice and round. So when you go round, Hathi Bhai is nice
Excuse me,
and
somebody is having problem
round.
coughing.
So you can go
Who is coughing?
big round over here. So what does the child understand?
something
Round can be a
particularly
circle
that-
also. Through the process of the
You have
class,
some
teacher would have introduced surface. The
Huh?
child knows round.
आप जा सकते हो
Waves is here.
आपके अगर आपके पास cough
So now
है,
when the
वगैरह
waving is happening, what do?
But
Move, because it's a
child
wave,
can-
right? It's not stationary, it's a wave. You
Sir.
waves his ears at every second. A long trunk. In front, he swings. You know, you need to do these gestures. You need to imitate a lion, an elephant in front of the children. And his little tail he brings. You know, do this in your class. You can show, you can even talk around with them. This is what you do with children, right? So you show the little tail. Monkeys, rabbits, hurry and scurry. See, hurry and scurry, these are two words which show pace, faster pace. So in my voice, I used a fast pace for hurry and scurry. I wasn't using the momentum for slow storytelling. Monkeys and rabbits, hurry and scurry. Okay? This is the tone you use for anything to show momentum. Birds fly up in a flurry. So how do birds fly? Maybe you can run around the whole class. I would love to run around there. But, okay, I'm going to be here only flapping my wings. Then Hathi Bhai goes storm, storm, storm. How do you go? You go storm, storm, storm. Your voice is a high pitch because you're showing stomping. I'm sure all of us have seen elephants walk, right? So how does it go? It goes with a big stomp. It doesn't go fast. It goes stomp, stomp. So this is a little simple book which showed us what an elephant is. An elephant is big. It's got big, large ears like flat. It's got a long trunk. And when the elephant is moving around, the other animals are just scurrying and hurriedly running away. Right? So this is just one book. In this session, I have a lot of books. I would encourage any two teachers over here, pick up a book and read the story for us. Okay, that we'll do at the end of the session. So now we go on to what are the enhancements for storytelling. What all are the things that you can use? You can use just anything that is there. Your hands, like ma'am said, your dupatta, you can just remove your clips and put it down and show two clips fighting with each other. Simple things. Whatever you can show your bangles out, use them as props. And in your class also, you can make puppets. We can make paper puppets. We can make puppets out of wool. There may be experts, who know knitting. You can make paper puppets. Then you can use musical instruments. If you don't have musical instruments, in your class you can use tables. How did the elephant go? Strong, strong, strong. How did the lion go? So these things, you have everything around you. You can use your tables, you can use spoons, you can use plates in your class. You can use just anything as props. It's your imagination, your creativity which you need to put into action. So these are the props which we can use for storytelling. Can I go ahead as people are making notes there? Can go ahead. So when you're creating stories with children, okay, one aspect is we telling stories, we reading out stories, we telling songs, we dancing in front of them. But there's one way which you can encourage children communication is to bring up a child and ask him, maybe you can start with a story. Once upon a time, near a village, there was a huge jungle. Maybe you can come up with this question over here. What do you think? How many animals would have been in the jungle? And what kind of animals are in the jungle? The children over here will come up with the answer. Wild animals! All the wild animals are in the jungle, which was very close to the village. And the village had a few animals there. What kind of animals do we rear in the village? So they would say, domestic animals. So this is how you're teaching them animal kingdom over here. You can ask the children, what happened next? There was a cow which went grazing into the thick jungle. What do you think would have happened next? The story of Punyakoti. How many of you all know the story of Punyakoti? Yeah, it's a very famous Kannada story, which was done through a way of singing and enacting. But now it's very famous in all our books, we read Punyakoti. So you can come up with a story, where you ask the child, what would happen to the cow which went into the thick jungle? All that will come into mind of a child will be maybe a lion or a tiger attack the cow. So encourage the child to come up with questions, come up with the answers to the questions which I mentioned here. You can say, what do you think happens next? Who do you think hid the treasure? If it's a story of treasure hunting, you can come up with these questions. You can maybe do more photos, right? All these questions can be asked based on your story, and then you will see that children come up with their own stories. The storyline goes somewhere else itself. It just connects to something else. So the key questions to be asked while developing or telling a story is who, when, where, how, why, and what did they do or what did they eat. If you're talking about plant kingdom, maybe you can ask them what grows in the rainy season. A lot of rice is grown, right? What grows in the rainy season? And how does a farmer grow it? The child would have seen somewhere, a farmer growing, or on a YouTube, maybe the children are exposed to YouTube. Somewhere on YouTube, somewhere on the screen they have seen. So they'll come up with different stories over it. So the ideas here for enabling language and storytelling is making meaning and expressing ideas. So how do you make meaning and express ideas? Practicing your eye gaze. So if you have to take a story session with children, maybe you come up in front of the mirror, or some fine day, when you have a lot of time, go in front of the mirror and start practicing in front of the mirror. The eye gestures, your tone, everything can be done in front of the mirror. Or we have so many people in the house, right? You have your own children in the house, maybe tell a story in front of your child. Your child will tell you, what is the mistake you're doing? And what do you need to do? So your speech sounds, then noticing the links between information in one medium, your experience, your picture, the song, storybook, and oral story, all this can be practiced. Your concept development and vocabulary. When you're introducing new concepts, you're using new words, the children will not be able to understand. If it's a preschooler, a lot of English words, the children do not understand. So what do you need to do? Go back to the local language. Use some Hindi words in between. Or if you're in Maharashtra, you can use Marathi words in between. Because the child is trying to connect, so maybe one English word and then you use a Hindi word or a Marathi word. Or anywhere, any local language, connect to that. But at the same time, maybe take the story in English also. And tell the story in the local language also. The children connect over it when you're using different languages. So, development of grammar also happens over here. When in a sentence formation, once upon a time, in a village, there lived a very poor farmer. So here poor came, farmer is there, and the farmer is common noun. All these things can be taught to them. Then after that you can say, he had no farm in his name, but he was a poor farmer. So when you develop, your grammar skills are also increasing, and you're helping the child also understand how the grammar goes, how sentence formation goes, what comes behind, what comes next. So stories and narratives, ability to sequence the events in logical order. Then familiarity with story structures. That's what is the beginning, what is the end, what is the middle. Like I told you initially, this all can be taught to the children through storytelling. So what do experts say? There was I'll just tell you about a experiment which was conducted by this people, Isabel Sobel. They conducted an experiment on children, preschoolers, on the effects of storytelling and story reading on the oral language complexity and story comprehension of young children. In this, they had two groups of children. During the study, the two groups of children heard the same 24 stories were kept in front of them. Group A heard the stories told and Group B heard the stories read from a book. There are two different things they did. One group heard the stories. It was orally told to them. And one group, they read from a book. So the different output what was there in that was, the language pre and post samples were taken from the participants by retelling a story that they had heard and creating a story using a wordless picture book. They have to retell the story but without looking into any picture book. The language samples were analyzed using measures of language complexity and story comprehension. Both storytelling and story reading were found to produce positive gains in oral language. The language scale of the children developed 4 to 5 codes. So this is what storytelling does. Storytelling increases the communicating ability of the children. This is an experiment which was done. How many of you teachers have your own YouTube channel? Anyone have? You have? Wow, that's really good. You know, when we as teachers, we can have YouTube channels for storytelling. You can have your lesson plans told on YouTube. Because it becomes difficult for parents, if parents are facilitators to teach the children in the houses, the parent has to just go and go and download that video of what the teacher has put up, and then we can teach the children at home again. So I encourage everyone, if you are internet savvy, if you have a smartphone, if you have gadgets, please have your own YouTube channel, but all keep it to very academic. So I don't want YouTube, you will have your own personal life reflecting over there. Which tomorrow I'm going to discuss on grooming and etiquettes. Things which we should do and should not do. Your personal life never comes up on the YouTube. The YouTube channel, if you're sharing it with your parents or your children, it should be all content driven. It should have stories, it should have lesson plans, it should say how you, what you did in the day with your children in your class, which lesson plan was done. What did you teach your children? Was it now? It was verbs? Was it mathematics? Is it fractions? All that can be put up on the YouTube. So this is a yearly planner which I have put up over here, which we do in our school also. These are 10 different themes. So how we introduce every theme to stories. So like in July we have all about me, June is all about me, July is earth and nature, August is food and nutrition, September you have culture and society. So according to the theme, you can develop your own story and teach the children the importance of it. Like there was a story, yes? Yeah, much material word, you can come up with your clothing, good clothing. You can talk about different kinds of clothing in the house. You can talk about a home environment where Papa hai, Mama hai, मेरी sister है. मेरी sister को तो बहुत ऐसे ना चमकी जो चमकने वाले कपड़े हैं, या तो फिर वो जो ग्लो होता है, उसमें वैसे सब कपड़े और skirts पहनती है. मेरी बहन टॉप्स पहनती है. So all this you can make it in a story form in a family. Who wears what? So if you have a grandfather and a grandmother, the grandma loves to wear cotton sarees, and the cotton sarees are light in color and crisp and neat. And what does my grandpa wear? He wears a kurta and a pajama, which is cotton. The fabric is so soft to touch. And my mama loves to wear salwar kameez, and she has beautiful dupatta around her. So these things, where you can relate a family, you can tell about the family. and there you can tell what material world. Or even material world, you will have your cupboards, you will have your sofas, you will have electric mixers, you will have your fridge, microwave, put up all in the home environment and you can tell a story over there. Or you can tell a schedule, like mama gets up in the morning and mummy jo hai na, mummy you can give a random name to the mother. There was a beautiful little household where the mama, whose name was Seema, used to get up very early. You know why the mama used to get up early? Because she had to make tiffin, she had to make the breakfast ready. डैडी का भी टिफिन करना होता है तो मम्मी कितनी जल्दी उठती है हाँ कि नहीं तो यहाँ भी ये मम्मी जो है सीमा वो भी जल्दी उठती थी मम्मी और वो क्या मिक्सर चलाती थी और मिक्सर में क्या करना होता है अगर हमें डोसा खाना है तो मम्मी चटनी भी बनाती है ना तो मम्मी चटनी कैसे बनाती है मम्मी मिक्सर यूज करती है और पापा को गरम गरम चाय चाहिए होता है लेकिन मम्मी को भी सुबह चाय लगता है तो मम्मी ने चाय सीमा मम्मी ने चाय बना के रखा था लेकिन डैडी को गरम गरम चाय चाहिए इसलिए मामा ने उसे माइक्रोवेव में डाला So you can connect all these words and make up a simple story of a day to the child. So that will cover material. You talk about culture. So when you have culture, what does it come in culture? We have different festivals. So we have Dasera, we have Eid, we have Christmas, we have your stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata. These stories can be told to the children as a part of culture. And what do you do in that? What do? We like dance. Why do you like dance? Why do we go to the church and pray? Why are we going to the mosque and pray? So all these things can be a part of the story of culture. Then you have plant kingdom. Plant kingdom, what we can do, like Nam said, you have a lot of space in your schools, take them out. Take them out, let them observe creepers, climbers, big leaves, let them pick up all the leaves there. And you can maybe create a story over there with different colored leaves. Encourage them, give them crayons, give them color pencil, let them come back to the classroom and stick all that pictures, stick all those leaves on the paper and create their own stories. With Plant Kingdom, we can do this. Let's step out. They can do it with clouds. You know, with clouds, you come up with stories. And every cloud has a shape. When you just take them lie down on the grass and look at the cloud on the top, every cloud is a story for them. Every cloud is a figure. And with that, they create something. Because the children are the most creative people. So in Plant Kingdom, you can encourage them to go. Animal Kingdom, again, you can talk about wild animals, you can talk about your domestic animals. Then transportation. In transportation, we can talk about following traffic signals. What does the red signal say? What does the green say? What does the yellow signal say? This can be made in a story format and introduced to the children in the month transportation. So this is an activity which is given, for you all in our. We are sharing it in the Google sheet. Yeah. So you'll have to pick up any two topics over here, create your own stories, and put it up on the sheet. Sorry. That will be really nice if your teachers can present it tomorrow. Pick up any two topics over here, present your own story. It has to be nothing copied. Everything is on the net now. Just like I told you, click a button and everything is on the net. You know the height was from the internet, from Amazon, what I ordered? That cotton black thread hota hai na, nazar ka dhaga. मैंने वो Amazon saw. Can you beat it? Everything is there. So can you imagine the kind of information which is there in the palm of your hands? Everything. But creativity, I want you all to. We have to be creative. And all the creative skills in children. You have taken this down. This is very, very useful to you teachers. Every month you can introduce this theme through a story format for preschoolers. In the whole month you can do this. You can have different activities. Many activities you can think of. Before we go on, there's a little video which I wanted to show you all. But before that, I would encourage any two teachers to come up here and read a story from one of these books over here. Who would like to come? Anybody? Yeah, come. servicing? Which branch? Okay, so we have Nandita ma'am over here, and she's going to pick up the storybook and read us a story, keeping all this in mind. Huh?
Sorry.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Actually, I was searching some kind of book which has some children in the book, but they're all animated stories. That's why I was searching. Actually. And mostly children, they correlate with the simple words. So they won't get much involved with the English characters. So good afternoon everyone, good afternoon ma'am. I am Nandita from Eagle Army Pre-Primary School. I would just like to tell a story. There's a picture, you all can see here. Okay? So when we are taking this kind of picture, now can we use this picture here? Okay. Okay. The kind of village story. You can all see here. Can people outside also see? Who are online?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can everybody see? Now. Okay. Okay. So. Excuse me. Can you stop showing presentation? ये chart दिखाना. ठीक है? Okay. So just suppose I am talking to children. I don't have teachers here. I don't have grown-up people here. I'm just talking to my children who are just 3 to 4 year children. Okay? So, and I will not use all, yes ma'am, I will not use all the English characters, English words to them because they will not easily correlate with those words. Okay? So, good afternoon children. Now today I am going to tell you a beautiful story. Can you all see this? I can't hear you. You don't want to hear the story? Very good. So, listen. What you all can see here? Can you tell me what's the picture here? कौन से picture है ये? The swamp? No. Yes, it's a village. जब आप ट्रेन से जाते हो, जब आप छुट्टियों में घर जाते हो, तो क्या आप क्या देखते हो? What you all can see? हमें ट्रेन से बाहर क्या दिखाई देता है? We can see farmers, we can see fields, we can see plants. और वहाँ farmer fields में कौन काम करते हैं? Farmers. Farmers क्या होते हैं? आपके घर में मम्मी पापा जो रोटियां, जो सब्जियां लाते हैं, कहाँ से लाते हैं? We purchase them from the shop. और वो शॉप पे कहाँ से आता है? वो शॉप पर आता है फार्मर के पास से. फार्मर फील्ड में काम करते हैं और बहुत सारे ग्रेन्स उगाते हैं हमारे लिए. ओके, सो यू कैन सी हियर वन फार्मर विद हिज cows and sorry ma'am, grains. Very good question, very good. Grains are like that. जो आप pulses खाते हो, जो रोटियां खाते हो, आपको पता है रोटियां
जाती है, लेकिन वो ग्रेन्स मोटे मोटे फार्म में जाके पहले उनकी पिसाई होती है, वो मशीनों के अंदर पिसते हैं। दो ग्रेन्स जो आप चावल खाते हो, जो आप राइस खाते हो, जो इडली खाते हो, these all made up of grains, और इनसे हमें बहुत सारा ताकत मिलता है। Now you can show me yourself. आप कौन सा ग्रेन? Very good, very good. So see, here is a farmer, okay? और वो अपने खेत में हल चला रहा है, और यहाँ पर एक अंकल दूध निकाल रहे हैं। दूध हमें कहाँ से मिलता है? काउ से, ओके? Now you tell me, काउ जंगल में रहती है? Is it a wild animal?
सोनाली ये मौसम के पैसे से
Okay, what do you mean by
बन रहा है
domestic
वहाँ पे,
animals?
वो में
बड़े
बैठी
घंटों बैठ सकते
आप इधर में कौन लाता है वो?
Yes, जो हमारे
मेरे मुझे लेट से ऊपर नहीं, बहुत
मैं तो रेस्टलेस
का
हूँ।
So now I'm going to
इसीलिए
tell the
she's
story.
really the leading.
There was a boy. Once upon a time, there was a boy. His name was
इतने बड़े-बड़े
Your dream आ गया।
बंटी।
क्या?
चलो हम बंटी लेते हैं।
Everything.
उसका
छोटे
नाम
छोटे
बंटी
करके
था।
खत्म करते
और
दिन
पता है,
भर।
उसको दूध बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं था, और वही उसका एक
उनको अपनी
भाई
रोजी-रोटी
था,
कमानी है।
जिस एल्जेब्रा, और वो दूध बहुत पीता था। He used to love milk, और जो उसका भाई था ना, वो
Boys
ऐसा
motivation.
मोटा चबड़ा था, और वो बंटी he was a super slim दुबला पतला था, because उसको दूध पसंद नहीं था। I can't tell you, बच्चा, please tell me, उसको पसंद था? नहीं था।
ऐसे ही
लेकिन दूध पीना है ना, दूध नहीं पिएंगे तो आप डॉल कैसे होंगे? आप अपने बोर्ड पर कैसे पहुंचेंगे? जैसे टीचर आपकी कॉमर्स में लिखती है, आपकी हाइट कैसे बढ़ेगी? आपकी बोन्स स्ट्रॉन्ग कैसे होंगे? आपके टीथ स्ट्रॉन्ग कैसे होंगे? So you have to drink milk. Now, तो क्या हुआ एक बार? बंटी will like to have milk. और वही उसका भाई बंटी he loves drinking milk. एक बार उसके पापा उसके घर में दूध निकाल रहे थे, और उसके चाचा के खेतों में से अनाज निकाल के, रेस निकाल के उसकी मम्मी बड़ी मोटी मोटी चपाती बना रही थी। तो बंटी से, मम्मा, I don't want to eat roti, I don't want to have milk, I just want to have pizza, I love pizza, मम्मा मुझे पिज्जा खाना है। फिर बंटी ने क्या किया? बंटी ने कहा, नहीं मम्मा, मुझे पिज्जा नहीं खाना, I just want to have chapati and milk, I will have chapati and milk in my breakfast। तो ऐसे दोनों भाई खाते गए, और बंटी सिर्फ पिज्जा खाता गया, मैगी खाता गया।
ये एक्चुअली मेरे ऑफिस में लगता
अच्छा
है होता है।
बंटी के पेट में बहुत जोर से
मैंने
दर्द हुआ। क्या हुआ?
अभी ला रही है।
दर्द हुआ, उसको बहुत दर्द हुआ। उसने बहुत जोर से आवाज लगानी शुरू की, उसका स्कूल छूट गया। उसको मामा ने मना किया, "Don't play now, you can't go out because you are sick." So बंटी के पापा ने क्या किया? उन्होंने डॉक्टर को बुलाया कि कॉल द डॉक्टर, और डॉक्टर ने देखा और एग्जामिन किया उसको अच्छे से। डॉक्टर क्या यूज करता है? कैन यू टेल मी? डॉक्टर के पास एक स्टेथोस्कोप होता है, वो चेक करता है। तो डॉक्टर ने अपने स्टेथोस्कोप से चेक किया एंड ही फाउंड कि बंटी के स्टमक में बहुत सारे इंसेक्ट्स, कीड़े आ गए हैं, और वो सिक हो गया है, बिकॉज वो सिर्फ क्या खाता था? पिज्जा खाता था, बर्गर खाता था, मैगी खाता था, और वही बॉडी वाज बिग स्ट्रॉन्ग बॉय हो गया था, क्योंकि वो क्या खाता था? वो रोटी खाता था, सब्जी खाता था, दूध पीता था। सो नेक्स्ट टाइम से फिर बंटी ने सॉरी बोला, और उसने बोला, नाउ आई ऑल्सो हैव चपाती, आई ऑल्सो हैव sabzi and milk, so I can go out and play with my friend, and I also be a strong like my bhaiya. So I hope you love the story.
हमारे
But there was one
दादी
child
से
who was
सीखते थे ना
carrying-
वो सुनाते थे
was
उनको
not listening to
दैट
his
यूज्ड टू बी
story.
दैट इज वेरी गुड मेथड ऑफ बिकॉज यू नो
Thank you.
स्कूल में तो है दैट इज वेरी
Nandita, that was superb, Nandita. So see, we can inspire each other to tell stories and make it very interesting for the children because children want to hear stories. All of them don't want to hear numbers. They don't want to see, how to write A, how to write B. Children get really bored of it. Though we say, literacy and numeracy skills have to be there in these schoolers now because they are going into first and second grade. So we don't want them to lack or then have another curriculum called the transition curriculum, which is happening all around the world now. There's some new thing called the transition curriculum. Why? It's because preschoolers are now abreast with numbers and letters. But we as teachers can make it interesting by inculcating stories in everything that we teach. Okay, there's an activity which I want to just simply say, which you can do as in our children also we can do that. So you'll all just look at each other and say, you are the best teacher at home. Just look at each other. Good, you're the best teacher. You're the best teacher. You're the best. You're the best. Now, for a couple of seconds, just close your eyes. Just imagine that from everywhere, from behind, from front, from your side, everyone is just telling you this. You are the best teacher. You're the best. And you can be even better. You're the best. I'm so happy. And I love you, teacher. Won't you be nice? Yeah? You can open your eyes now. You see, for a couple of seconds, when you have these positive words coming continuously into you, we feel nice. This is what we as teachers have to keep encouraging our children. Never say no. And say, yes, you can do better. Yes, you're the best. This is what we can say. The moment we go into a noisy classroom and we see a couple of naughty children making a noise, and the moment you see them making a noise, you, come on here, go that side and sit down. The moment you tell that child, you see how the child gets into a shell. They do repeat that again, but they get into a shell. What we can do, what I do an activity which we can share. Let's see who screams the most. And even I scream with them. And they're so happy. So next time they don't scream with me. Because they know it's very noisy when the teacher is screaming. Okay, now I have an inspirational video for you teachers. The difference that you as teachers can make in every student's life. Can we play the video?
Teachers, we need more than just teach. Want to turn up each day, talk at kids with glazed eyes and blank stares about maths, English, anything else that they're not listening to you. We're the ones who open minds and open eyes for kids who seem to think it's already been decided, just because of where they were born or how much their parents earn. We're the ones who find that spirit, that genius, that spark, that glint in the eye that says, I'm not so decided. I don't care where I'm from. I want what everyone else has, that same chance, that same opportunity to live my dreams, decide my future. That's what that is. You can't just turn up and talk. You have to commit. You must love what you do. Because we're the ones who will help change lives in schools, in society, long after the books are closed and the classroom emptied. Not because of what we said, or even what we taught, but how we make them feel. Each and every one of them. See you in class.
Change makers. There's a video which has been going around on YouTube. The Nobel Awards were announced now recently. So many of them had told that the change, what was brought about in them, was due to their teachers. So you can see, we have so many Nobel laureates amongst us, actually they may be change makers in the world, but we need to detect that and promote those children, make a change in a child's life. We have the whole future in our hands, right? So thank you, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. I love such teachers, who say they are change makers. You can ask